I found out that my wife of 4 years has been making adult videos with other men. We've been married for 4 years, but had been dating for 2 years before that, and we have a 2-year-old child. She's 28, and I am 38 years old. She was making significantly less than me as a high school teacher, so I decided that it was a good idea for her to become a stay-at-home mom. What initially attracted me to my wife when we started dating was her adventurousness in bed. She was always doing something new, like wearing new lingerie and exploring new kinks. She's into leather and was into BDSM as well. She was very submissive in bed and loved it when I was dominant. However, something that aroused her during intimacy was spanking. She enjoyed pain during sex, and I wasn't fully comfortable with that. So I had to spank her, because that was what she wanted, but I wasn't doing it out of pleasure. She wanted me to take the initiative to do it without her asking, but it didn't come naturally to me. After we got married, things kind of went downhill from there because of life stresses. It was hard to keep up with the constant adventures and surprises, and my busy work life affected our sex life, especially when I came home tired and she'd been home all day expecting me to match her energy, which was impossible. Charade to Sitinawis, and adding to the fact that we moved across the country away from family and friends, which added more stress to our relationship. After she gave birth to our daughter, it was difficult for her to lose weight, and she went through depression during those years. Those were the lowest moments in our marriage, and we thought about separating, but went to marriage counseling to try to make it work. She started going to the gym every morning, regaining her confidence, and started losing the baby weight. But something that never recovered was her adventurousness in bed. It didn't bother me much, because that took a lot of pressure off me. There was a moment she would try to make it seem like I was neglecting her, because I was working all the time, but I felt like I was living a normal life. I thought I gave her everything she needed. She had access to my bank account, and she spent money on things that I should have asked her about, but I ignored it because I thought if she's buying it, she must really need it. My suspicion started when I came back from a one-week work-related conference. I had to travel out of state for 5 nights. I flew on Sunday and came back on Friday. Looking back, there were times that I would call my wife and she would be out of breath, but she would play it off like she was running around, playing with our baby. I was so clueless that I didn't suspect anything was going on behind my back. One of the reasons why I wasn't able to tell whether she was cheating on me was because she was a stay-at-home mom, and I was working 12-hour days. When I got home and initiated intimacy, she's always down for it, so there wasn't any reason to suspect that she was having an affair. The Friday evening, when I came home, my wife was taking a bath, and I happened to be brushing my teeth in the same bathroom. She stood up from the bathtub to grab the towel, and I saw multiple handprints on her butt. Knowing that it has been at least 2 months since I spanked her, it makes no sense to me why a handprint was on her butt. When she stood up from the bathtub, she turned around to grab the towel. I saw the handprint. It only took a few seconds, but I just stood there frozen, thinking about the repercussions of what the handprint meant. At that moment, it dawned on me that her high sex drive could not just disappear all of a sudden. It was hard for me to accept that if she wasn't getting it from me, she must be getting it from somewhere else. I began to replay every suspicious event in my head. Like the time I would call her, and she would say she was somewhat, and I would know she was lying, but I wouldn't think much of it because there was a friend she had that she knows that I don't like, and she would try to hide that from me sometimes. So, I would use that as an excuse for her. Now your body. I was looking at those events in a different way, without thinking twice. I came toward her as she wiped herself with the towel, and I asked her to turn around to get a clear view of the handprints on her butt. I asked her whose hand was this, and she didn't respond and tried to ignore me. Then she got off the bath tube, acting like what I just asked her was a ridiculous question. I pulled her back, holding her bicep roughly and shaking her as she yelled that I was hurting her. I told her to answer the question, and she gave me a ridiculous answer by saying that she slapped herself. I wasn't sure if she was being serious or sarcastic, as she attempted to walk away with the towel wrapped around her. I've never physically assaulted my wife with anger before, but I was furious at how condescending she was to my serious question. So, I held her arms around her bicep and pulled her back tightly, forcefully trying to get her to answer the question. She responded by saying that I wasn't there for her and that I was always working. I responded by asking her if she was admitting that she cheated as she tried to escape from my grip. She was so upset that she had been caught, and instead of taking responsibility, she was blaming me for working and providing for the family as a reason for her to cheat. An argument arose, and she started digging up on the things she had been frustrated with me about, trying to distract me from the fact that I just saw physical evidence of her cheating. She did everything she could to blame me for her cheating and digging up old wounds that we already went to therapy about. Realizing that she was attempting to deflect, I called her a harlot, telling her that she was useless. Things got heated and we were yelling at each other. I asked her who she was having an affair with, and she claimed that it was with someone better than me. Then I could hear our daughter. I heard our daughter crying from the room. But I was filled with anger when she said that she was with someone better than me. Fully, her intent was to anger me. That was when I told her to get out of my house and go be with the guy that is better than me. I dragged her out of the house and asked her to leave. She was yelling and banging at the door after I pushed her outside and closed the door behind me. I guess the neighbor called the police and the officers showed up at my door. It took a while for them to show up, but before they did, my wife was banging on the door and our daughter was crying, walking around. Seeing my daughter crying sort of calmed me down, and I didn't feel like that was the best environment to raise a child. So when the cops showed up, I was willing to get out of the house, at least for the night, to find a place to calm down. Additionally, it didn't help my case with the cops since I threw my wife out of the house wearing only a towel. The cops wanted me to let her back in, and I did. I secretly took her phone and drove away from the house to stay at a hotel for the night. When I got to the hotel, I was able to unlock her phone, but because she has been using the same password since we met. Back from the text messages on her phone, I found that she told her mom a few months earlier that she doesn't love me anymore and wanted to get a divorce. Her mom tried to encourage her to work things out, but then gave in and told her to have her friend find her another man. My wife's response was, "Don't you worry, Mom. I already have an arsenal of men." She told her mom that she was emotionally detached and basically that the juice isn't worth the squeeze to work on the marriage. Also, looking from the conversation with the friend that I didn't like, she told her that she had already gone to the lawyer about divorce but needed to get financially independent. That coincided with the time she started slowly withdrawing money from my account and hiding it somewhere. She was telling her friend that according to her lawyer, our marriage hadn't reached the statutory period for which she would earn alimony. Hence, she would have to stay in the marriage till she found a better man or stay till when she would qualify for alimony. She was hell-bent on stealing from me till the time comes. I was devastated by this and couldn't believe that I was living with such a diabolical person all this time. I also found innuendo text on her phone from a random guy. For dress, she twinks. I found clips of a tape she made with a different guy. She also invited another random guy to my house. According to the date the video was taken, I was at work, and my daughter was in the house. I found more pictures on her phone from early in our marriage that are highly suspicious of her cheating. Sexy selfies showing off her BDSM outfit and her kinks which were taken before our daughter was born. There were tons of photos of her wearing a leather outfit and neck choke, posing in underwear while she was out of town to meet her parents. She often visited her parents prior to her daughter's conception. She also had lineary photos on her phone that I had taken or seen before. Now, there were emojis covering her face, probably sending them to guys. I even saw a picture of 2 of the guys on her phone from 2 years ago that she must have cheated with. Just from the information on her phone, I could tell that she was cheating on me with at least 3 men and advertising herself as a submissive woman. I found lewd pictures of herself that she was sending to men and her ex-tape with a different dominant male that she had on her phone for some reason. Maybe because I never felt any reason to check her phone. That was the worst moment of my life because I realized that she never loved me, and our marriage was more of a convenience for her. It was heartbreaking for me because I thought I had a loving family. Now, I was questioning everything. Even our daughter, the most important person in my life. When I came back to my house from the hotel the following day, she was still defiant. I started to realize that she has been feeling this way for a while but was bottling it up because I was her ATM. Now that she's been exposed, she felt like she had nothing to lose. But she was wrong. I gave her phone back and told her that I watched the X tapes and I know everything. I sarcastically told her that now that our marriage is over, she should feel free to become an adult actress, and she answered, "Maybe I will. I will do OnlyFans." She completely blamed me, saying that I pushed her away and neglected her. She even claimed that I cheated on her last year, which is insanely a lie. To this day, she claimed that the cheating only began in March. I had a DNA test done on my daughter just to make sure that she was mine, and the result came out that she was mine. The annoying part is that despite the fact that I fought for 50-50 custody, the lawyer still said that I had to pay child support, which was news to me. He said that I was the breadwinner and was making significantly more than her, even while she was working. The satisfaction to me was that I knew that she would be returning to her work as a teacher, which she hates, and they pay very little. I knew in no time, after she had been used by several guys, she would realize that she wouldn't find anyone like me and it would be difficult for her as a single mom. So she screwed but doesn't know it yet. When we went to court, a lawyer tried to convince the judge that she deserved alimony, but she was denied because she could always get back to the workforce. Plus, I had a good lawyer as well, and he was able to use the evidence that I had collected from her phone to paint her as a liar and a cheat, and she didn't marry me in good faith, as she had been cheating on me for 2 out of the 4 years we have been married. As for right now, I have to pay child support, which I knew she would be using the money on herself, as I would still be the one buying everything for my daughter while we share 50-50 custody, and she would still get child support. It still hurts not to have a wife and my daughter under the same roof with me. Having to grow up in a single-parent household myself wasn't fun. I am convinced that she's going to try to get back with me after she realizes that the luxury life is over. But I will never make the mistake I made again. Thank you for staying to the end of this video. Please support the channel by hitting the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Now let's get some reaction in the comment section. Thank you and have a wonderful day.